To me, engineer is far more important than some bankers in Shenton Way.
And plus, the top-up scheme will actually reduce their financial burden.
So encourage more employees and companies to go with ITE, so students have more opportunities and a wider range of options to choose in the WSD, which is now quite limited.
The job securities for youngsters, will they be affected by AI?
800k for a 4-room flat. I find that quite scary.
Every year, around this time of the year, the government will present its finances for the year, what it intends to do with the money, and how it plans to keep Singapore connected, competitive to the world. Whether you're in nursing, whether you're an engineer, whether you are a designer, you know the macro landscape of what government intends to do and why, given the macro landscape. Okay, but that's me. I can talk about this forever. What stands out as useful to you? Because I always say, people only pay attention if, hey, what is the Cheng Hu giving me today? Or what's good in it? It's very fair. From your perspective this time, what do you think in terms of what are the things most useful to you or industry sectors?
I was expecting that the government would touch on the different categories such as like families, education, or industries even. This year, I'm surprised that the government has given ITE students a top-up of $5,000 into their PSEA if they were to enroll into a diploma course, and $10,000 if they were to complete a diploma course.
So that to you, most important aspect or the thing that stood out most for you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, Ryan, anything that strikes you or that you find it interesting, most useful to you, or anything particularly that strikes out from the budget?
Okay, so similar to Catherine, I find that the investment that they made into ITE is very important for us because it will encourage us to further work hard to get a diploma in the future. Working adults with skill future top up, so they can continue to upskill themselves even when they are working. So it's very relevant because they will pick up new skills that's relevant for the industry, the economy.
Forget about the economy. I think really for now it's really about how does it benefit you in your different stages of life. Essentially, that allows you to be, the honest bottom line here is, can you get paid better? How do you get paid better? Obviously, if you are seen to have the qualification to justify the bosses. Singapore had relied, on cheap foreign labor too long because it is easy to get cheaper engineer to come from around the region to work in, let's say the construction sector. Foreigners, because Singaporean doesn't want to go inside there. Sometimes if you study engineering, perhaps only 1 in 10 end up being an engineer, because in terms of career progression, you find out somebody that became an engineer, switch it to something else like finance, suddenly get better paid because they're selling investment strategies, etc. To me, engineer is far more important than some bankers in Shenton Way, but that's just my view. How do we get that kind of skill set to be better appreciated? Originally, never mind, we create jobs first, fill them up with engineers from Malaysia, maybe from Hong Kong, etc. I think our point now here is we want to ensure that even engineers have a better footing so that there is that career progression that will make them better appreciated in terms of the pay scale as well. So I think these policy changes will happen that narrow the gap. Very important, because you do not want to end up in a situation where, yes, you study diploma and then you switch it, let's say, compliance, because banking's in other area, whether you're selling some product or whether you're investment banking, earns you better. Or in your case, in terms of AI, okay, I've learned enough in terms of AI, but how do I utilize this? Nothing wrong with it, honestly. In terms of investment strategy, can I, then utilize my knowledge in AI, what I've learned inside there to turn something into that makes more money elsewhere So I think that's really the point in terms of where Singapore lies in with the labour. Do you think there can be more that can be done which may not be addressed in the budget that was just presented?
So as for me, I feel that the budget really encourage students to pursue the diploma. Maybe one student, their goal is not to really pursue a diploma in ITE upon graduation, either from NITEC or higher NITEC. And with the top-up scheme, maybe they will consider pursuing a work-study diploma, and plus the top-up scheme will actually reduce their financial burden for their course fees.
Enough so far in your mind, or you think that there will be further enhancement that may be, or other enhancement you think may be useful in your mind?
For me, I'm grateful that the government has given us this top-up. I feel that in my suggestion, if it will be great that if government have an award for ITE students upon attaining a diploma and further a degree, yeah, it will be great if there's an award for that.
Okay. Another signs of recognition at the end.
I think the second suggestion I will give is giving a top-up for the employers who have employed students from ITE. For example, in the work-study diploma, students are to work and study. So it will be great if there's a subsidy for these students.
For workers, for bosses,
Yes.
basically encourage. Yeah, good idea. And now Ryan, anything that strikes out, and what do you think still perhaps can be done for future budget proposals that you think may help, or any things that you think you should?
So actually, I saw similar to Catherine. I believe in the idea that the government should continue to award IT students upon like completing their diploma or even masters, and possibly they can also like give employers benefit if they employ more ITE students.
Incentive, yeah.
Yes, so they can also encourage more employees and companies to work with ITE to support the work-study diploma. So students have more opportunities and a wider range of options to choose in the WSD, which is now quite limited yet. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So generally you would say it is good step in the right direction in terms of recognizing, IT poly students, steps in the way, and yet at the same time also incentivizing employer to hire, and pay students from, say, IT College Central better. Okay, we're almost at the end of the coffee conversation with Uncle Song over here. So wrapped up, I don't know, do you have any question that you want to ask me? Anything, whether you want to ask about my favorite K-pop group or my favorite movie, also can. I'll start with Ryan, you first.
Okay, so Uncle Song, I want to ask about BTO. So actually, I look at the price of BTO, right? And I predicted that in the future, around my time, when I purchase a house, it will cost around 800k for a 4-room flat. I find that quite scary, like quite daunting to be able to afford that much of a price. Yeah. So I think, so I want to ask, like, how is it possible for us to get ready to purchase our first BTO?
Extremely important question, and very important from a Singapore standpoint. Obviously, if you are already an existing homeowner, you're happy because you get that constant price appreciation. Typically, property cycle come off during recession, pick up during period of boom, but generally it just go like this, but the trend still persisted like this. So the whole point of let's say today and budget and skill upgrading, etc., is really about enabling you at whichever stage you are through the course. When you start working, you should get that pay growth. Important, again, coming back to say where the diploma came in, that allows you to move upwards. So a very important and very useful question, in that most of the time we just look at the price trend without appreciating the fact that Singapore workers are getting better paid and they do have disposable income. Obviously, if you start working, you should be, let's say, after 5 or so years of savings, if you settle down and start to talk about buying your first HDB home, you can, because there will be enough in your saving, in your CPF, to start contributing, plus some other sort of grant subsidies as a first-time public home buyer. So I would say, don't worry. That's why I tell my kids as well. You don't worry. You just make sure you have something that you enjoy looking forward every morning to wake up to when you're going to work. Because if you don't, you're in the wrong place. Do something else. Go back to school if you have to, because there are also schemes like that that allows you to change and switch as well. Demand for worker and supply of worker, you know, your pay will continue to, whether it's through university or diploma or retraining, will continue to grow in line with the needs of the economy and in line again with underlying property prices trend. So you should be able to afford your first, HDB home. Very importantly, affordability isn't compromised. Hopefully, that is the case.
Thank you. Really answer.
Okay, Catherine, you have anything pressing in your mind?
I would like to ask if the job securities for youngsters nowadays, like us, will they be affected by AI?
Through my working career, obviously, I've seen several shifts and changes in technology that impact hiring. Again, as I said earlier, we were talking about the VCR and technician that repairs, video recorder are just being replaced. Fast forward to today, certainly we will say that machine learning, rendering text to image, text to video, scary and very exciting as well. Mean that some job will go, yes. Earlier, again, we were talking about things like, even lawyer, again, is just machine learning. You just put all the Singapore cases, law cases, for the last how many years, from the British days to modern Singapore, inside there, and it's there. You can tap one question in, subscribe to a service, and question on legal matter could be answered quite quickly, for instance, as well, without paying, say, $200 to seek advice from a lawyer. But what we have seen throughout history, whether it is the Industrial Revolution, when the first machine and the railways come through, is that new jobs are being created. Either refresh ourselves constantly or bring in the foreign workers to make sure Singapore stay connected, relevant, etc. as well. Coming back to me, for instance, as an analyst, can I be replaced? Totally. Because it can be just a chat box in which, in terms of script answers, and even go in, and some, AI get involved itself, and chat box can just essentially be saying what I'm saying with a little bit of thinking. So again, is if demand for labor remains strong, skill set remains strong, what you get? You get better, higher paying jobs. So your worry about not being able to afford your BTO, X numbers of years down the road, will not be an issue, because you can. We've come to the end of another episode of the Kopi Conversation with Bangga Song here. Today, I'm in Ang Mo Kio, ITE College Central, with Catherine, with Ryan, to discuss some aspect of budget FY24, paying some attention to what's happening to the rejigging of the economy to make Singapore future-proof. It looks today, at least from Catherine and Ryan's standpoint, we've made useful steps in terms of making ITE students better appreciated, and hopefully, and most important, ultimately, is about what's in your wallet, right? Better paid in the future as well, narrowing the gap. Thank you, viewer, for joining us here in ITE College Central. Next episode, we'll have something else to talk about. But for now, thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day.